During this month, it's a Gita Jayanti month, and we have been discussing about Bhagwad Gita, the various aspects of Bhagwad Gita. So I thought of discussing the story behind the Bhagwad Gita. And it will be a fascinating story that how this Bhagwad Gita, as it is Bhagwad Gita by Srila Prabhupada, how it came into existence. It's a very interesting story. So we know that how Bhagwad Gita, we have been discussing such an important book, is the essence of all the Vedic literature. As Gita Upanishad also explains, that all the scriptures, if you take out the milk is Bhagavad Gita. Right? So this is the essence. And why it is so important? Because Bhagavad Gita offers a very unique perspective on life. Many times people say that, Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years back, how it is even relevant in this day and age. And especially modern age people, their thinking is, it is not a relevant book. Now, how do we understand it is relevant or not? There's different ways of understanding this, that it is relevant or not. First of all, Bhagavad Gita challenges our perceptions. Right? We have been discussing about the various lies which has been spoken to us. People think that money makes us happy. That is like, in general, that is the conception. And we have grew up with that kind of understanding. And by hook and crook, I have to make a lot of money in my life in order to be happy. But when you start reading Bhagavad Gita, it is nothing against money or making money. But then you start realizing that, if I had the money also or whatever I desired, still there's no guarantee that I'll be happy. Because happiness is a different equation. As Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter, Krishna explains, this is not something which has to be achieved outside. Happiness is the process of going inside. Happiness is not a product. Happiness is a byproduct. And byproduct of what? Devotional service. When we start doing the seva, and as a byproduct, we achieve the happiness. So like that, it challenges at every step, it challenges our conceptions or perceptions, because we have some, assumptions based on our upbringing, our surroundings, and our influences. We think in certain way, but then Krishna actually guides us. No, this is not the way to think. Right? Many assumptions. Like just think of how we are so set in our own ways to think. We think in a certain way. If I ask a question, that what occurs once in an hour, once in a minute, but never in a second. I'll repeat the question. What occurs once in an hour, once in a minute, but never in a second? What is the answer? Give the quick answer. Anybody know the answer? Is it possible or not? Something occurs once in an hour, once in a minute, but never in a second. Silvod is thinking very deeply. Answer is very simple and very, very obvious. Yes? See, answer is very, very simple and very obvious, but sometimes we are so set in think very complex. Okay, the answer is letter U. Answer is letter U. My question was that occurs once in an hour, once in a minute, but never in a second. But see how we start thinking so complex? Because that is how we are trained to think complex. We don't know how to think simple. So Bhagavad Gita is the book which gives you an alternate perspective. Okay, Haribol, Pranath Pro. So Bhagavad Gita is a book which teaches us how to think differently. How to think differently, right? Prabhupada in one place, Prabhupada says, this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is so simple, so simple, so simple that you may miss it. Because we are not trained in this modern age to, accept the simple things. Everything should be so complex. Since something is simple, then it feels like it is not important. Something should be very complex, beyond your comprehension, and all of that. But Krishna consciousness, the Krishna's message is very, very simple, like that, right? So that is what is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, that it challenges our thinking, it shifts our, whole pattern of our set ways of thinking, and all of that, right? There's a very funny story that we share sometime. that there was this businessman. He went to one village. He wanted to spend some time in his farmhouse and all that. So he went in a very high class car, and he got down. And as soon as he got down, and then he saw this one simple villager who was sitting under a tree on some, like, on some bed, something like that, in a very simple setting, and relaxed. And he was holding one coconut, and drinking the coconut water. And this businessman comes there and he says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He says, "Yeah, I have some, coconut trees. So I just, pick some of them and then go in the market and sell few of them and then get some money. And that is how I just make my living." So he says, "No, but why don't you get some few more, trees or something like that?" Say, "No, but why I should do that?" He says, "If you get more trees and then you can get more coconuts and then probably you can double your profit." So then what? Says, "Then gradually you can build your business and then, expand your business." So, "Oh, that's nice idea. Then what next?" So then probably, you can go to the next village and the next city and then expand and make it international. Possible. I can give you the idea. I'm a businessman. So yeah, that's nice. But and then what to do next? So now you'll be having the international, business, and a lot of people will be working and they'll just work for you. You not to do anything. And then you can sit and relax. And then he said, "That is what I'm already doing." But sometimes what happens is, like, people are so complex in their ways of thinking, they miss out the simple ways of living. And that is what is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. It gradually trains, it won't happen overnight. Suddenly the things won't change. But gradually, when you start reading and understanding, then you see that, just to be happy in this world is a very simple equation. But most of the people in this world, they're not truly happy from within. Though they have all means, materially speaking, they're very opulent, very affluent, all possible luxuries are there in this day and age. But you go and talk to people. There's a lot of, a lot of vacuum in the heart. People are not happy. So this Bhagavad Gita is the book. And that is why we say that happiness is not a product which you get somewhere. It's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of seva. When you go and do some seva, you just extend your hand a little bit to help someone. And the kind of satisfaction you get, you cannot experience that satisfaction by any means. That's the beauty. So certain things has to be experienced only in this world, right? They say, like, it's a good way to put that. Somebody said that everybody want to look handsome in this world. So the question was asked that, you want to look handsome? Say yes, if you want to look handsome, then extend your hand to some, right? Extend your hand to help someone. That is the real handsomeness. So this is what is Gita. And now I was talking to some students, in Stanford, and then they're telling, I was just in a conversation and then trying to understand, like, what is their understanding about spiritual concepts and Bhagavad Gita, like that. So now there's something is coming up, something new, which I also never heard. So they say that, there's different ideas. The different people have a different theology. So we know that atheist people, who is atheist? Who says no God is an atheist, right? Straight. And then there is a concept of this monotheist. Monotheist means those who believe in one God. So only this one God. That is monotheism. Then there is a concept of polytheism. Polytheism means there's many, many gods. And they say that, Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma is about polytheism. Like we have the concept of 330 million demigods. So they say this is polytheism. Certain religions, they say only one God, like say Christianity or something like that. So there is atheism, there is monotheism, there is a polytheism, there is something called autotheism. What is autotheism? Autotheism means there is a concept that I am God. Right? There's some interesting, this one T-shirt, like you see some slogans sometimes in T-shirts. So one guy was walking in the street and, in front of the T-shirt it says, "I was an atheist." And, when he walked past, and at the back he said, "Unless I realized I'm God." Right. So there is a concept that some people think that you are God. Now you have forgotten, but you can realize that you yourself is God. So this is called autotheism. Now, and then there is a concept of pantheism. Pantheism is more of like, where you start worshipping the nature as God. You say there's no God, the nature is God. Respect the nature, the trees and the rivers, and worship the sun, and like that. The different concepts like that. Now, something interesting is coming up is called, especially this modern age, they call is apatheism. Means They say that I'm not interested whether God is there or not. I'm like, indifferent. How does it make difference in my life whether God is there or not? So I'm apathetic to whether God is there or it's not there. It is not relevant in my life. So this is the kind of, the concept is emerging with this modern minds. They say it's okay if God is there, how does it make difference? Or it is not there, I have to do my things. And like that. So then people say that, it is not relevant to me. You're talking Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all these scriptures. How it is even relevant to me? I don't care about God. Or if God is there, let him be there. And like that. So the point is, how do we understand that this Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Gita is really relevant or not? Now, another thing is coming up is in this modern age, this yoga has become very, very popular. And now they have started celebrating International Yoga Day on 21st of June. And so it has become very popularized, and people understand that the origin is from India. It came from India. Now people are presenting yoga in so many different packages. Now they call it something called beer yoga. Now it was nowhere in the yoga text it is mentioned beer yoga. Like in one, but you can watch all those videos. In one hand, you hold the beer bottle, and then they'll tell you some exercises, and in between you keep sipping that. That's called beer yoga. Now these are the kind of the ideas people are coming. So the point is, with this kind of ideas, the whole the soul of the yoga is lost. What is the yoga is designed and originally intended for, it's completely lost. So these are the kind of ideas. So people think, in general, if you talk about if somebody is into yoga and all that, you ask them what is the idea of yoga. So probably somebody will say that yoga is about just to maintain the good health or something like that, right? But Bhagavad Gita or yoga text explains that yoga is not about maintaining your body, but originally intended for awakening your soul. That is the real purpose of yoga. Some people, they say that when you do yoga something, you look very bright and very beautiful or something like that. But the idea is that yoga is not about looking good outside, but experience divinity inside. That's the whole idea of yoga, right? Some people do the exercise, like some yoga exercises, asana pranayam, just to remain fit. I'm not saying they're like useless purpose, but that is not the main purpose. Yoga is not about connecting head to toe, but connecting soul to the super soul. So in this modern idea, because people are not reading Bhagavad Gita nowadays, people are not getting educated about this knowledge, then they have their own conception, they have their own ideas. And most of those ideas are like speculative, all concocted ideas. The real spirit is lost, right? And then they think it is not relevant to me. So it is very interesting that how this yoga can be so relevant. And we discussed in our previous session that whole Bhagavad Gita can be divided into three sections, 18 chapter into three sections. What are those three sections? I think everybody should remember here. Those who have been attending the classes. Yeah, Karma Yoga, first six chapters, Karma Yoga, the yoga
Bhakti
of
Yoga.
second middle six chapters, Bhakti Yoga, yoga of love, we call it. And the last six chapter, 13 to 18, yoga of Gyan Yoga, right? So the first six chapter talks about how to live in this world. And not only just living, you know, it's like many times, people on the name of living, it can be existing. It is not everybody exists in this world. In a beggar are also existing, some animals are also existing, but living means meaningfully living, successfully living. Success means not success is not only just as per the yoga text, the Gita text. Success is not about just getting what you want and get everything and you say, now I'm successful. That can be one idea, one definition of success, right? As the Bhagavatam, it's a very beautiful conversation between Narasimha Deva episode that we know that how Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was a very, very powerful personality. In fact, you see the seventh canto, the 10 chapters of seventh canto dedicated to explain this pastime of Narasimha and Prahlad. And in those chapters, it is very fascinating. Narasimha comes only at the end. We are saying we are talking about Narasimha, but Narasimha is coming towards the end only. And what is the description of all this, 10 chapters? The major description about Hiranyakashipu. It's very interesting how the Bhagavatam has been thought through and compiled. There's a lot of, detailed description about Hiranyakashipu in the seventh canto. Somebody might be wondering, like, Hiranyakashipu was a demon. Why there's so much description about a demon? It should have been more of like, description about Narsimha, who's God, who's Bhagwan. But it is very interesting that we need to understand. We think, oh, Hiranyakashipu was there long back in some ages. And then, Narsimha came and he killed him. And good to know, good to hear all those stories and all of that. But when you start reading Bhagavad Gita, then you start realizing, oh my God, Hiranyakashipu is already still, he is alive in my heart. He is not killed. He was killed once, but still, I need to kill Hiranyakashipu. The demonic mentality, Krishna explains in the 16 chapters, divine and demonic qualities. So these are all qualities. So then you start realizing the description of Hiranyakashipu, some of them they reflect in our life. Oh my God, I also get envious. Sometimes I see somebody's getting more success. Sometimes I also have that mentality to control over others and all those kind of egoistic, how somebody can deny. Like Hiranyakashipu was what? Practically was such a powerful personality that 99.9% people of the world in the entire universe at that time bow down to him. That was his power, except this one person. Who was that one person? His own son. Prahlad. He said, I don't care. Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. He constantly goes on chanting. Say, forget about Narayan, you chant my name. Say, no. Just one person is not listening, and his ego was so boosted. He says, how you cannot listen? He's not happy with 99.9% people are just following him. That is the nature of ego, that you can't accept the different opinion, that how you can think differently than me. That is bossing over tendency, lording over tendency. So these are the kind of things has been highlighted. So anyway, I'm not sure like why we get into this. We are talking about Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, so we are saying that, coming back to our original discussion, which was Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means living happily, successfully. So I was talking about the success. What is success? That is why I brought that point of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu practically got everything what he desired. Everything was there on his back and call. But his experience has been described in the Bhagavatam. He was not happy. He was very, very dissatisfied because my son is not listening to me. Despite having everything, still you can be the most miserable person in this world if you don't know what is the art of being happy. So success is not about just getting everything. The real definition of success as per the standard of Bhagavatam is that if you can control one of your desire, that okay, I have strong desire to get something, but I understand this is not good for me, let it go. It's not easy. Our mind, body system doesn't allow us to let go, right? So real success is not about just getting the things all the time, but sometimes to let go the things also is considered success, and many situations comes in our life. We get so worked up with those situations. So sometimes it is important that we get the good sense, the wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita. So okay, let go. No problem. Krishna has some plans like that. But to get to that level of consciousness and that concept, it requires certain practice. And that is the practice of this yoga text, Bhagavad Gita. So anyway, we are talking about how we explain that this Bhagavad Gita is relevant in this modern age. So everybody wants to be successful in this world, yes or no? Everybody will say yes. Their idea of success might be a little different. So Krishna says, okay, here in the first 6 chapters, Karma Yoga, I'm explaining you what is real success and how to achieve while you are functioning in this world. That is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means first item of Karma Yoga is first you identify what are your duties and which has been described as your dharma. So you understand what is your dharma, right? And learn how to act in that capacity. That is considered success. And then the second, the middle chapters, they are the yoga of love, the bhakti yoga. Now everybody practical in this world, they may not know, they don't know how to express, but everybody is looking for love in this world. Yeah. So people may not say like, in George Harrison, very famous pop singer during Prabhupada's time. I'll narrate the story today. Very fascinating story. So George Harrison was the one who sponsored Krishna book, that Prabhupada had Krishna book, all the Krishna stories. So this Krishna book was sponsored by George Harrison. And then Prabhupada, he was very fond of Prabhupada. He started following Prabhupada. and Prabhupada gave him to write the foreword in the book. So in that, you read that Krishna book, he says in the very beginning, he says, everybody is looking for Krishna in this world. Some knows, some doesn't. Everybody is looking for Krishna. Basically, everybody of us, we are looking for love in this world. But people doesn't know what is love. People think love is all about just transactional dealings. That you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So far, all going good. We are in a good relation. As soon as there is little hindrance, little hamper in my expectations, immediately there is a fight, argument, separation. So people don't know the chemistry or the equation of having the beautiful and loving relations in this material world. Love is all based on the concept of sacrifice and compromise. And we can learn all those things. We not to go very far off somewhere like some alien world, but if we just look back in like, our previous generation, like our parents or grandparents, there might have been some argument sometime, something happens that is like very much part of the relations. But there's no concept of like separating, going away, divorce and all those kind of complex things happens today. Those concepts are not there because they are trained that it's okay. Sometimes you adjust, sometimes I'll adjust. It's okay. This is how the life is, right? So this is what is the love is about, right? It is not about just people think, oh, we had to match the chemistry or chemistry did not work out. Love is not about chemistry. These are all modern ideas. Chemistry will not match most of the time. Love is about commitment. You should be ready to be committed to the person and then be ready. There might be some challenges, but I'm okay with all those challenges. People sometimes, they say that I fell in love at first sight. These are all modern ideas. Actually, it won't happen. Love doesn't happen at first sight. It's just an infatuation. It's attraction. Love is not, binary thing that 0 and 1. I don't love you, and suddenly I saw some beautiful girl or boy and I fell in love. Yeah, that is why they say, like they say that love at first sight and divorce at first fight. This is the kind of idea now people have. This kind of love doesn't last long. So love is not a binary thing. It's a gradual. It unfolds in the due course, and that is how Prabhupada also explains many times. That was our tradition earlier. In very young age, young boy and young girl, they'll be into a relation, like they'll get married, and then they start living together. And gradually, over a period of time, they'll develop so much love for each other. And especially, in our Vedic system was when the girl is very young, when you achieve the puberty state, and that time only they should get married. Because at that stage, if they get committed to someone, they give their heart to someone, then that person becomes the person of their life. For lifetime, they can go to any extent to just maintain that relation. So anyway, so Bhagavad Gita, the middle 6th chapter talks about the love. What is love? The Bhakti Yoga. Krishna talks about the love. He teaches the love. And ultimately, the love, the real love is we have to take a resort in Krishna. And the love is all about center around Krishna. That is the true love. So how it is relevant? Yes, everybody wants to be successful. First 6th chapter will teach you how to be successful materially and most importantly, spiritually. People know how to be materially successful in this modern education system and all of that. But even the most successful people, they're terribly spiritually failure. So Bhagavad Gita 6 chapters will teach you the first successful materially and spiritually. Middle 6 chapter will talk about how to love in this world when you are living. And the last 6 chapter is also we said the yoga of let go. It's very important. There's so many things in our life. We remain so stuck up with all those things. There's one person was asking that to his teacher, spiritual teacher. He says, "What is illusion?" So he explained very nicely. He says, this teacher, he came out from his cottage and then he go to a tree and he, hugged the tree. And then he started shouting after that, "Oh, let me go, let me go, let me go," like that. And these people say, what he's trying to do, like he's holding onto the tree and he's shouting, "Let me go." So if you hold on to something at the same time, you're saying, "Let me go, let me get free." It doesn't work like that. You have to release. You have to, let the go things like that. So, and another story I remember that, one time this, I think Prabhupada tells or somewhere I heard this story that there was this bird was in the cage And then that bird was trained to, call out, say, please release me, like that parrot, sometimes we learn. So he was saying, please help me, release me, take me out, take me out. So this person, he thought, all the time you keep crying, let me release him today. So he opened the cage, right? And this bird is still shouting, please release me, please release me. He's holding on to that. This person is putting his hand, trying to take him out. He's very tightly holding on to the cage, saying, please release me, please release me. Now, these are all the stories, but actually, it reflects all in our life. We say, oh, yeah, no, I don't want this, I don't want that, so much tension, so much problem. But still, you want to very tightly hold on to something, which is causing problem, we understand, but still, we don't want to let go things. So it is very important that we understand that certain things has to let go in our life. And then Krishna guides through this. So this is the freedom. Everybody wants freedom in this world. But what is true freedom? You need to understand what is the real freedom. People think freedom means whatever I desire, whatever I wish, I should do. Right? Just do it. Another slogan, just do it. And the people get inspired. Oh yeah, this is fascinating. Just do it. But we need to understand. So a lot of things are there, a lot of desires, a lot of, set patterns, the thought process, the controlling nature, the habits, and, some money or some adoration or some reputation. We remain so stuck onto all those things. We say, no, I want to be free. I want to be relaxed. No, it won't happen just like that. So it is important that you read the 3 sections of Bhagavad Gita and you get the idea of success, you get the idea of love, and you get the idea of being free in this world. So now, when somebody says that, is it relevant for me or not? We should go and ask them that you tell it is relevant or not. You want to be successful in this world? Say yes, Gita is relevant. You want some loving relations in this world? You say yes, then you say Gita is relevant. You want to be free? Somebody say yes, then Gita is relevant. And we all want all of those 3 things, right? So that is why they say that Gita is like a mirror. It acts in so many different capacities. Sometimes it acts like a mirror. When you start reading Bhagavad Gita, different instructions, different qualities, and you start realizing, oh my God, everything is there within me. I thought they're talking about Krishna or Arjuna or something, but here it looks like it is talking about me. It talks about your own mind. That how Arjuna says, Chanchalam nahi mana Krishna pramati valbhadrana. And mind is so restless, so fickle. And you say, it looks like you're talking about my mind. I thought it was something about Arjuna. Start realizing. So sometimes Gita acts like a mirror. Also, Gita acts like a model, like what you should become, where you should be in your life, what should be the goal of your life. So sometimes it acts like a mirror, it can act like a model, it acts like a map. Map means what is your destination? Like we have the Google Maps in modern age, right? But now the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is this map is very uniquely designed. In Google Map, you have to put the destination and then it will navigate. But Bhagavad Gita is not only just navigate, it first set your destination. First, it trains you, it guides you that what is your destination, what is the goal of life. It does that, and then also it guides that how to achieve that goal in your life. So it acts like a map also, so mirror, model, map. And then Bhagavad Gita acts like a medicine also. So as Bhagavatam guides us that we are all suffering, we are all diseased, and the disease called Bhavarog, the disease of this material existence. So Gita is, Bhagavatam is the medicine to get relieved from this disease. So in so many ways, it is so relevant. So it is very important that we take out some few minutes every day, whenever possible, and we start reading at least just one verse, one paragraph, or one page, or whatever works for different people, works differently. And you see, a lot of wisdom is there, a lot of transformation can happen, right? So anyway, I'll just close with this story, and that is what is our today's topic, today's discussion. Said that it's very fascinating to know how this Bhagavad Gita, especially I'm talking about this Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, how it came in the first place, right? So just to give a quick recap on, many of you might be familiar with the story that how Srila Prabhupada, he first time met his spiritual master, his Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj in 1922. In the very first meeting, Prabhupada received the instruction from his Guru. And what was the instruction? Instruction was that you, a young educated man, should go and preach, share this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the Sanatana Dharma, and all over the world, especially in the Western world, to the English-speaking the audience. So Prabhupada took that instruction as his life and soul. But that time Prabhupada was into his household life. He was a grasta. He was just 26-year-old at that time, in 1922. And Prabhupada said that I had to do something about this. And he was running his own business, pharmaceutical business. He started working parallelly, whatever, whenever he get time, he'll write the articles, and and all of those things were happening gradually. And then later, Prabhupada had few meetings with Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, and Prabhupada shares that in every meeting I got more and more closer to my Guru Maharaj. In 1933, I think Prabhupada took the initiation from his Guru, and 1936, his Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, he departed from this world. But before that, there is one very historical meeting that happened in Vrindavan when this Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, he was conducting a Braj Mandal Parikrama, the whole yatra. And then Prabhupada also went there. And then there is a meeting at the Radha Kund. He was talking, and then he received one instruction. Prabhupada received the instruction that Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj said, whenever you get money, print books. That was the instruction he received. And Prabhupada, because he was into household life, he used to feel like, I'm not able to do much service to my Guru Maharaj because I'm a grastha running my own business. And Prabhupada would write the letter. And then, my dear Guru, how can I serve you? And then again, he received the same instruction again, that you should preach this message of Bhagavad Gita into English language, in the English speaking world. So then Prabhupada took, okay, this is what is the instruction which I received in the first meeting, and probably that is the last instruction of my Guru Maharaj. So Prabhupada started taking it very seriously while he was in Agresta life, and then started writing the articles, and then he was thinking what to do. Then Prabhupada started this magazine, which is called Back to Godhead magazine, in 1944, started publishing. And single-handedly, as a householder, as a business person, family man, he would write the articles, he will proofread, and then he will publish, like print it, publish it. And not only just publishing, then he goes and distribute person to person the copies. People are not interested in reading those kind of stuff. Prabhupada will know some people, he'll go and say, you should read this. And like that, Prabhupada worked hard a lot. So 1944, it started, and even this Back to Godhead magazine is running even today, continued by his disciples. So all this was going on, and then Prabhupada was contemplating more and more that how to, and then it's a long story, but I'm just keeping it very short. Prabhupada started another attempt in Jhansi. Jhansi is in the Uttar Pradesh in India. So Prabhupada started with the name League of Devotees, but it was a failure somehow. It didn't work out. He rented one building, and then there's a lot of politics was happening there. Prabhupada says, I cannot get into all this politics. So Prabhupada came out, and then gradually, somehow, Prabhupada was doing in his business, it was a great business and a lot of money and successful business. But gradually, things started turning around. His business also started collapsing slowly. And at the same time, Prabhupada becoming more and more serious, contemplating more how to fulfill that instruction of my Guru Maharaj. All this thing was going on. And then Prabhupada, whenever he find time, he will spend time in working on the manuscript of Bhagavad Gita. That was his work. So apart from his family commitment and his business, whenever he find time, and gradually Prabhupada was not spending much time on his business. And many people started recognizing, they're saying, the Swamiji is not Swamiji at that time, he was Abhay Babu. His name was Abhay Charananand. So he said that this Abhay Babu, he is not interested in his family and business. He is more interested in writing and preaching. In fact, Prabhupada's writing was so high class. One time he wrote, one article for his Guru Maharaj, for Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, on his Vyas Puja day. Vyas Puja is the day when, appearance day of the Guru Maharaj. So in his glorification, he wrote one article. And it was so high class. When Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj he read, he was actually very, very scholarly. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, his English in those days, when he'll speak, even the Britishers, those time it was a British rule, the Britishers will sit to hear his lectures with a dictionary. Now we can't imagine, like, if you want to get the sense of what was kind of English that he was having, there is one book by Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj, Brahm Sahita, what is available, I think, in all our bookstores. You start reading that book, you will get the sense what kind of English he was using, right? And that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, he appreciated Prabhupada's writing, and then he passed the order. So whenever Abhay Babu writes anything, just publish it. His writings are like that high class, like that. So it was going on. And then, many of the Prabhupada was not like a sannyasi at that time. He was not a full-time monk in the temple. He was still a householder. So many of those sannyasis and, all those people who say, oh, this Abhay Babu is such a nice preacher and very knowledgeable person. He should join the temple as a full-time. And they used to go to Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj. He says, and Guru Maharaj, you should ask Abhay Babu to join in our temple. And then Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj said that let him be outside. When the right time will come, he'll do everything by himself. And like that, so Prabhupada continued. And later in, long story short, in 1959, Prabhupada took the Vanprastha, like the retired life. He left home and then he went to Vrindavan. Now, before that, something interesting happened, and that shows that Prabhupada's perseverance, his determination. See, while he was in the household life, he was working on this manuscript of Bhagavad Gita. He completed the entire Bhagavad Gita, 1,000 pages manuscript. And one day, suddenly, when he came back from his work, he found that entire manuscript was missing. 1,000 pages work for many, many years, and it's completely missing. And, and then Prabhupada later he recalls, probably the person who was taken away did not realize the value of those papers. They took away as like some ordinary papers like that. Now, just think sometime, when we type some messages, something happens and, suddenly, it deleted or it not saved, and you feel like, oh my God, I spent like 5 minutes to type something and it just got deleted. You got so agitated. Now think of that situation, 1,000 pages manuscript got missing completely. Prabhupada was very, very disappointed, disheartened, but he did not lose the hope. He says, okay, whatever, started working again. That is the kind of a determination, right? So anyway, so that was going on, and then Prabhupada came to Vrindavan and then started living in that temple, which is the Radha Damodar temple, in a very humble setting, small room. You can go and visit even today, those rooms in the Radha Damodar temple. So he was living in a very small room. And then Prabhupada started working on his life's masterpiece, which is Srimad Bhagavatam in English translation. And Prabhupada, one time, it's this one Brajavasi, he came to the temple and he went to meet Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was busy in writing, and he was using the pen. That pen was Parker pen. And Parker in India is like considered very expensive and high class people they use. And this person was amazed, like this sadhu sannyasi. Prabhupada already got sannyas in 1959, and then he left home and he was living like a sannyasi. So this person was saying, Swamiji, you're using Parker pen. Like sadhu should not use all, luxurious things like that. Prabhupada says, yes, I'm using this Parker pen to write, translate Bhagavatam. And anybody reads that Srimad Bhagavatam, he will Parker this material world. Parker means he will cross over this material world, like, in a light mood. But the Prabhupada mood was always that he want to use best of the things for Krishna. Even writing also, he will use high class pen. That was his mood. That if Krishna has to be served, he should be served with the best of the things. Because he is the Lord. Why people should use and Krishna should not use, and it should not be used in Krishna service. So that was his mood. And then finally, in 1965, Prabhupada was ready with the 3 volumes of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada has been very deeply contemplating on the first instruction that you should go to the Western world, preach. And it's already 1965 now. He received this instruction 1922, almost like 43 years of preparation. Actually, one devotee wrote the book, 43 years of preparation. The life in preparation. Like people doesn't have that much patience just to get one instruction fulfilled. 43 years of your life has gone into that, working and contemplating. And then now Prabhupada says, okay. And that time Prabhupada was 69-year-old. Says, okay, this is the time, high time I had to go. And then we know that how Prabhupada managed somehow to get a free ticket of this cargo ship from Sumati Morarji. She was the owner of that Scindia ship company, and Prabhupada knew him because she used to come to Vrindavan and like that. So he managed. Prabhupada started and coming to US in the cargo ship, not on the flight. Almost 70-year-old man coming in the cargo ship with one trunk, which is full of Srimad Bhagavatam books. And some of the books he already sent by, the shipping. So that is how Prabhupada is ready to come with how much money? 40 rupees in hand. Can you imagine that somebody coming to the country which has never been, no idea, no place to stay, no connections, and you're coming with 40 rupees in your hand? Who can do that? Somebody has to be very crazy, or somebody has to be completely surrendered soul. Prabhupada is the surrendered soul. So, okay, Krishna, whatever he wants. And Prabhupada wrote that song in the ship called Jalduta. It's a beautiful song. So Prabhupada says that, Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. That I'm like a puppet in your hand. The way you want me to dance, make me dance. So that was his mood. He was coming with that. And then finally, when Prabhupada came here, 1965, he landed. And then Prabhupada shares later, when I came to this country, I didn't know, like, go left or right. Like, no idea, like, complete surrender. He came with the 40 rupees in hand. Now, interesting thing about this 40 rupees, Prabhupada never spent those 40 rupees in America. And he built the whole, worldwide movement. And then after a few years, when Prabhupada went back to India, then he landed in Delhi and he took a rickshaw. And there Prabhupada used those 40 rupees to pay to the rickshaw. So see how Krishna, when you have the desire and determination and complete surrender to serve the Lord, Lord will give you what, and that is what is the Lord's promise. Yova kshemam vahamyaham. Krishna promise that I provide what you lack and I preserve what you have. That is Krishna's promise. So anyway, so 1965 he came and then he stays few days with one family, Agrawal family, but it didn't work out something. Then Prabhupada came to New York. So initially he was in the Butler, Pennsylvania. Few days he was staying with the Agrawal family, came to New York, and then he has some contact, his old friend, Dr. Mishra, who was little impersonalist kind of a person. And Prabhupada idea of Bhakti Yoga, the concept is different. So somehow they were living together, and this Dr. Mishra was running some yoga classes. So he will call, Swamiji, you also come. So he asked someday, Swamiji, Prabhupada, why don't you also speak something? So Prabhupada started speaking about Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, surrender to Krishna. This person got, freaked out. Says, what is this talking about surrender? Their philosophy is something we concocted, concocted philosophy. So it doesn't match. I should not allow this Prabhupada to speak. He says, Swamiji, you should just do some nice little kirtan. That is good enough. Like that. So Prabhupada understood that nothing will work. I had to start something. So anyway, a lot of things happens. Again, it will be a very long story. I want to share the story of Bhagavad Gita. What happened? What magic happened? So many years passed by and Prabhupada still continue to, print books, and he told his disciples that go distribute the books. Books means magazines in those days, Back to God magazine. So the disciples, they're distributing and they're getting some donations, like people will give some donations. And that was the source of income to run the temple. Can you imagine? They'll go on the streets, distribute some magazines, get some donations, and they'll run the temple like that. Prabhupada was contemplating that we should have our own literature. So Bhagavad Gita manuscript was ready now, around like 1969. So it's ready again, second time. And then Prabhupada wrote a letter to one of his disciples. His name is Brahmananda Prabhu. So he says, the Brahmanand, you should find some opportunity to publish this Bhagavad Gita. So this Brahmanand Prabhu, he didn't know anything about publishing. So wondering, like, this instruction came from my guru, and I should help him in publishing Bhagavad Gita. What should I do now? So he said, I didn't know anything about publishing. So he purchased some books on how to publish books. Started reading to understand get some idea like how to do that in the first, how to start even. Started taking some courses, talking to people, nothing was working out. Parallelly, Prabhupada was also talking to some of his contacts. So Prabhupada was meeting this Allen Ginsberg, very, very influential person at that time. So when Prabhupada was talking to him, Prabhupada asked him that, can you help me to publish Bhagavad Gita? Said, yes, Swamiji, I can talk to some of the publishers, use my influence. Probably they can help. And then he came back with the response that, they're saying that this book doesn't have any commercial value. So they're not interested in publishing this. I'm sorry. So there many attempts were made. There are some 15 refusal from different publishers, and so many things were happening. In the meantime, what happened is, see how the Krishna arrangement was going on. They recorded one album, Prabhupada and some devotees in George Harrison's studio, Apple Inc. And they recorded this, Hare Krishna Kirtan. And they made those cassettes in those days. And that became very popular. These Hare Krishna Kirtans and like that. And they published in the local newspaper called the Village Voice. They advertised that if you want, this Hare Krishna records, please, place your order and then we'll courier you like that. So one day, this Brahmanand Prabhu, suddenly, he got excited because he got a request from whom? He got a request from Macmillan Company. And those days, Macmillan publishers were the top in those days. He got a request of what? The record, Hare Krishna record. So he was very excited. He went to Prabhupada and says that, Prabhupada, I got this request from Macmillan Company. They want the record. So generally, whenever any request will come, they'll just pack and send the courier. Prabhupada said, you should not send the courier. You should go personally and hand deliver this. Says, and then try to talk to someone there if you can get to talk to someone that if they're interested in publishing. He says, okay, Prabhupada, so what should I say? Because he didn't have any idea like how to negotiate, how to start talking. Says, nothing, don't worry. You just say three things. That we have the full manuscript of Bhagwad Gita in English language by an Indian Swami. Three things you should remember. Go there. Krishna will show the magic. Says, okay. He went there very excited, very happy. But this excitement did not last long. As he reached there, found out that this request was made by a simple ordinary clerk in the Macmillan Company, sitting somewhere like in low class position. So he thought, oh, I would get the chance to talk to some senior person, but the clerk, he won't have the influence over publishing and all of that. But anyway, very smilingly, he delivered and he was very thankful and talking. Says we have this Hare Krishna and something like that. And this Brahmanand Prabhu is like a American bodied person, the saffron robes, hat shaved, tilak and all of that, complete devotee attire. And then suddenly the clerk where he was sitting in the room, the door opens. And there is one gentleman walks in, nice suit, boot and all that, very educated person. And this clerk introduced this Brahmanand Prabhu. Says, meet Mr. James Wade. He is the chief editor of our, religious publishing, division. And he was like excited. And then this Mr. James, he looked at this Brahmanand Prabhu. He was amazed to see some American person in saffron robes like that. He says, who is this person and what is he doing here? And then he introduced, I'm the disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Says, oh, really, we are looking, we are into publishing all these religious texts. We kind of found all the books available. Only thing is what we are missing is Bhagwad Gita. And he was like so happy. He says, oh, really? So he says, by any chance you have Bhagwad Gita? He says, yes, I have Bhagwad Gita. In English language? He says, yes, in English language. By an Indian Swami? He says, yes, by an Indian Swami. That is what exactly Prabhupada told him. And this is the question, 3 questions he asked. And he says, oh, then why don't you get that manuscript and then, say, no, I'll get you and you review it. He said, no review. We'll just publish it. And he was so happy. He was sharing, this Brahmanand Prabhu was sharing he thought that in that moment, I felt like I should have the wings to fly and give this news to Prabhupada. He went there and he met Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, you know what? They agreed to publish your Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada, what was the, expression like, what was the, response or reaction of Prabhupada? Prabhupada was very great. No response. Prabhupada said, yeah, I knew. As if he knew everything what is going to happen, And then Prabhupada says, okay, now you take and just print it. So this Macmillan, they print. Now there's another twist happened. I'll close with this. So they took that and then this person says, oh no, this 1,000 paper is too long. We don't publish the books like 1,000 papers and nobody will read. So we had to cut it short. Then he was a little disappointed. He said, Prabhupada, they're saying that that to cut it short to 300 pages. Prabhupada says, no problem. Whatever they say, you just do. We had to publish this book. Just make sure that editing happens by us, not by them. We'll edit it, we'll give them. So this Prabhupada engaged 2 more devotees, Hagriva Prabhu and 1 more devotee, to brought it down from 1,000 pages to 300 pages. And then the first abridged version of Bhagavad Gita was published by Macmillan company, which was 300 pages. And then later, then Prabhupada started his own publishing house, Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. And then the full manuscript was printed. So that is how this Bhagavad Gita came. And we can imagine if this Bhagavad Gita was not there, then many of us, those who are into all this, we don't know like where we would have been, right? And since then, and the devotees, Hare Krishna devotees has distributed, because Prabhupada says, distribute my books. And how many books has been distributed since then? It's 55 crores, like more than 500 million books around the world. And major of them are like Bhagavad Gita books in English language. And now in practically all the languages in the world has been distributed. And so many people has got benefited, right? So Prabhupada one time when he went to London, Prabhupada was received by, all the devotees, and a lot of this media houses came with a camera and they want to interview because Prabhupada was very, very famous at the time. So they asked Prabhupada that, Swamiji, why you have come here to London? So Prabhupada's reply was very, very epic. Prabhupada says that Britishers came to India for many, many years. They ruled and they took away, they looted everything from India. But they forgot one most important jewel. And I have come to hand deliver that jewel which Britishers forgot to loot, and that is Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has been the core, the central book for all the devotees in Hare Krishna. This is our guide, this is our friend. Whenever, as Mahatma Gandhi says that whenever there is a confusion, there's no clarity in life, I just turn towards Bhagavad Gita. So yes, this is the hope. When Arjuna was also confused, bewildered about his duties, he just heard Bhagavad Gita. In 45 minutes, the whole scene changes. From I'm not going to fight to Karishe Vachanam Dhava. Says, I'll do whatever you say, Krishna. So that is the power of Bhagavad Gita. So important is we all read, and also during this Gita Jayanti month, Gita Marathon is going on. So we should also think of distributing this wisdom to anyone possible, your friends, family, relatives in your office, or just go in the street and then give to someone. We never know who is gonna get benefited by this Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is a very fascinating story of manifestation of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your presence and your patience to hear. Anybody has any quick question or any comment or anything before we close and tune into chanting the Hare Krishna mantra? Okay,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Prabhu. According to Bhagavad Gita, how is freedom defined?
What is freedom defined according to Bhagavad Gita? It's a good question. So Bhagavad Gita explains that as being the soul, the Atma, we are all free. We have immense potential to do certain things, but we are put into the jail of this body. So when somebody is put into the jail, then you are restricted, you are confined, So the freedom is that you come out from this bodily concept of life and start acting on the platform of soul. And then you can untap into the immense potential that as a soul we all have. So that is the idea of freedom. Okay. Because somebody has put something here in the comment. Bhagavad is like a Google map, which first says the destination and then navigate to actual destination. Okay, is a beautiful, truthful thought. Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's